recording. Off to a brilliant start.
Yeah. Right. Hey, welcome to Project Next. This is part 2 of my videos. If you've not seen the rest, have a look at the channel. I'm going to move on from that now. So, this is the van, and as I said in the previous video, what we're doing is we're going to install 2 permanent seat-belted seats in here, just to suit our needs. Basically, we just need more passenger space. So what we're going to do today is basically remove the fuel tank out so we can see where our anchor points are going to be, and in doing so, hopefully we might even attempt to try and get them in. All depends on what we're going to do with the van. I'll show you a video of what it looked like before I dismantled it and put these seats in. Right, so as it is today, so yeah, we're going to crack on with that. I have some help today. There he is, that's Andrew, my brother-in-law. He's fairly tall. I don't know if you can work this out. I don't know. Yeah. And he's a fair bit younger than me as well, but more to that. So he's going to give me a hand. What we're going to do. So basically, I don't know if you can see under there, that's your fuel tank. It's quite long. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. So we're going to crack on with that. Sorry guys, good tip. We're just taking those 3 bolts out. Obviously we're going to drop the fuel neck out, and when we drop the tank we're also going to just keep the fuel line connected, and then we're going to be able to put the cap back on. Yeah, we'll be able to put the cap back on and basically just seal it all back up so we can just rest the tank on the floor and then crack on. There we go, just a bit of a tip.
If you're ready to go down a bit more,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Okay. It's coming down, but it seems to be stuck, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it on the heat shield?
No, I think there's a bit of wiring.
Ah. Is it like a fuel sender or something?
Yeah.
We're just, I think it's the fuel sender cables in the fuel tank. We're just trying to disconnect those from the top of the tank.
Yep.
We're lowering it down on the jack slowly, apart from the heat shield, which isn't really causing a problem, but you just have to shift it over a little bit. So far so good, so we're cracking on. So that's it. The fuel tank has landed. We can sort of see now the floor, the underneath of the van.
Yeah. Got a fair bit of room to play with.
Yeah, so we've got to try and now twist. Oh no, we just have to work around it, won't we? Right, okay, cool. So yeah, right, first job done, fuel tank dropped. Now we've got to work out where things are.
Yeah.
Lovely jubbly. So I guess the next step really is to clear out the inside of this van, and then take off the floor covering, and then see where we go from there. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have to take that unit out now, because we're quite limited to the floor. As you can see, there's quite a few sort of obstacles in the way. And not only that, it's obviously the fuel tank is moulded into some of those crevices. So I don't know if that all comes out in the camera very well. But yeah, to give us more of an opportunity. So the first seat sits right, don't know if you can see that, right on this rail there. So we need to move the seats over, and in doing that I'm going to have to move the main unit. Yeah, so basically that's coming out. So crack on with that. Right, so that's basically the side unit gone with the sink and the hob, and we've taken up some flooring. So that's kind of what we're left with. Yeah, it's quite sad, really. That's the side unit out. Yeah, it didn't want to come out without a fight. It was an issue, but we got there in the end. So we've decided that was where the old dropout vent was for the gas bottle. Yeah. So hopefully that we'll use that as like a datum to work out where we're going to put in the seats. So I'm just going to place the seats back in here again and have a look. Morning, guys. Yeah, so things ran a bit late last night, so this is where we got to in the end. Basically just trying to map out the underside of the van to work out where all the rails are and the ribs, so we can avoid that and then bolt the seats down securely. So that's where we were. It got a bit late, got a bit dark, so we ended up just stopping and chucking everything inside the van, as you can see. Yeah, so it's Sunday today, so we're just gonna clear this all out, and basically mock up the seats. So we're going to drill pilot holes through the floor, and then basically ensure that we get a good fix in, mock up the seats, and take it from there. So there we are. So right, as I've always said, I'm just going to crack on now, so see you in a bit. Hi guys. So what we did is we've marked out our sort of datum lines on this floor. It's been pretty good working off this plywood, just because it gives you somewhere flat to work off and you can draw on it. So obviously what we did is we pilot drilled through the floor with rough measurements to work out from that point onwards where we're actually going to place these seats. So obviously the limitations are you've got ribs running across, and obviously you've got the chassis rails running that way. So what we've done is we've managed to measure out and straddle these two furthest seat receivers, like straddling the chassis rail, so either side of that. The other two, this one and that one, obviously there isn't a problem with that because that's more in between the two chassis rails anyway. So the only thing you had to contend with was the ribs that run across. So that's there and there. So we managed to get fixings on the back, front, two fixings either side of that rib, and then a third fixing at the front of this rib, because the fourth fixing goes right over this rib. So like I said, there's limitations and obstacles. You have to try and work out what's best for you, but I think we've done that, and by also doing that we've managed to try and find where the ribs are as well within the floor that we can drill through. Yeah, bit of a long explanation, but anyway, so we've got to that point, and so we drilled our 10mm holes, and then what I've done is I've drawn an outline of the underside of these, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop those out to sit these receivers a bit further into the floor, so effectively they will be on the floor pan itself. It's kind of, you know, a little bit of guesswork at the moment, so there's no real key to this. Yeah, so we've just been working that out. So there's an upside view of the rails. As you can see where the bolts are located within this. and like I said, out of the 4 holes I can only use 3 on each rail, but that's more than substantial. So yeah, that's kind of what that looks like. And then obviously this area here is where I'll cut out. But yeah, let's move underneath the van. So yeah, we're on the underside of the van, a bit tricky because the light is pretty bad. But that's one of the holes basically, and I've tried to sit it on the ridge that sits within the van, centrally, as best I could. And then the next one along, as you can see there, sort of sits on the ridge that sits out of the van. But yeah, not really much to look at, to be honest. The obvious is obviously as you can see, as it stands, the bolt that goes through is not long enough, hence why I'm going to recess the brackets anyway. So yeah, not really much to look at. Just word of advice really, once you drop the tank down, just try and map out exactly where these nuts are going to be, and then in correlation to the molded fuel tank. But yeah, we're yet to see exactly how that's going to pan out, so we'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, not really much to see here. I'm sorry for the light, it's pretty poor. But yeah, there's a 10mm hole you can see within the fan there, and there's the other bolt, as you can see there. But yeah, so these are the rails. Obviously they're the rails, you can see either side is what we're having to sort of contend with, but that's nothing unusual with vans. It's just that the transit seats are obviously made for a Transit, not for a Renault. So it's a learning curve, but we're getting there. So that's the seats in situ. We've gone for the seats being over to the right hand side of the van as close as possible, and leaving a space to the left hand side. Reason being is so we can get in and out and get into the back. Now, like most plans, they never really go to plan, as the saying goes. So that whole back end looks like I'm going to dismantle that as well. It looks like it's just going to be a completely clean start for this van and a complete new remodel. So that back fixed bed, that's going. All the storage behind it is going. But we still want to have cooking and washing up facilities, because this is inevitably going to be a day van. But we still want to be able to wash our hands, maybe make a coffee, and maybe make a quick, bacon sandwich or whatever. And we've already got the hob, so there we are. So that's the gap that we've got to play with to go in there. And obviously, as I've already shown in the video, these seats fold down and then tilt up, and they can be removed as well. So it makes the van a bit more universal. So we can put different loads in here and use it as a daily vehicle, really, not just a camper van that sits up for about several weeks at a time. I apologise, it has been a bit like stop start and itty bitty, just because I'm having to work around things. So it's not just this project I'm doing, but there's interruptions along the way. So to close this off, just to recap, what we've done today was basically measure out, mark out where on the floor we're going to locate our seats and how it correlates to the underside of the van, and to make sure that we get obviously a good fixing for these seats, because obviously safety is paramount. And that's taken a little bit longer than we'd hoped, and I also found that one of my seats has got a slight twist to it. So when I was trying to line out measure everything out, it was slightly off all the time. But yeah, it turns out there's a slight twist in the seat, but it looks like that's a manufacturing thing. So yeah, I hope this video's been useful to a point, but don't you worry, once the project's completed, I'm going to try and put together a whole, like, sort of the steps that I went through, that would hopefully make more sense along the way. Right, so that's it for this video. It's going to be a few more weeks before we get another one up, just because life is busy. But I hope this has been beneficial to some people. It's completely new to me, and I have not seen any other videos doing fitting seats like this, so hopefully it'll be some help to people who are considering the similar idea. Anyway, that's me. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Cheers. And then just keep talking to it like I am like now, like an idiot. I feel like a complete fool.
Look at me, I'm on camera. Yes!